Recently, Russian Defense Ministry has published footage of a strike operation launched by single-use attack drones to destroy 2 Ukrainian military helicopters deep behind the front lines. One of the aircraft was a Soviet Mi-24 attack helicopter, which is one of the most high-value aircraft in Ukrainian service and is particularly difficult to replace, while the other was an Mi-8 multirole helicopter which has been used to provide air support multiple times in the past. The video shows 2 separate hits achieved at Kanatovo airfield, and an operator appearing to assist the drone's inertial targeting systems. Commenting on the attack, Ukrainian electronic warfare specialist and advisor to the Ukrainian Defense Minister Sergei Bezkresnov observed that no additional Russian drones were nearby to relay commands during the attack. Those drones were piloted manually at a low altitude to stay under the radar, he concluded. The location of Kanatovo airfield in the Kirovograd region has fueled considerable speculation that the unmanned aircraft involved in the strike were guided via satellite link, which would allow them to be controlled remotely deep behind enemy lines. This revolutionary capability would have significant implications not only for Russia, but also for Iran, which supplied the Shahed 136 single-use aircraft and associated technologies to allow for license production in Russian under the designation Geran 2. The aircraft have seen their targeting capabilities modernized considerably, and in October were reported to have demonstrated a new capability to strike dynamic moving targets near the front lines. The aircraft have also been modified for new roles including limited air-to-air combat and mine warfare. The Russian defense sector's capacity to produce Geran 2 aircraft has expanded very significantly since the type was first introduced into service in late 2022, with The Economist reporting in May 2025 that output at the primary production facility, the Alabuga factory in Tatarstan, had increased more than tenfold from 300 a month to over 100 per day. Industry was reported at the time to be on track to be able to produce 500 of the aircraft daily. Support from 25,000 North Korean workers has reportedly played a significant role in facilitating the expansion of production at the facility, as part of broader contributions by the East Asian state to the Russian war effort. Improvements to targeting capabilities have complemented the increase in numbers. It remains possible that only a portion of the aircraft intended for deep strike operations are being equipped with satellite data links, while those intended to strike targets nearer the front lines are not, in order to avoid an increase in costs across the fleet. Ukraine inherited its Mi-24 fleet from the Soviet Union, with the aircraft having first entered service from 1972. They were widely being considered the most formidable attack helicopter type of the Cold War era, and have seen high-intensity combat in multiple theaters. Preceding the outbreak of full-scale hostilities in the country, the modernized Mi-24P variant established a favorable combat record in the Syrian theater against heavily armed Turkish-backed jihadist terror groups. While the latest variant, the Mi-24P1M, boasts an AESA radar, new modular direct infrared countermeasures system, and an improved autopilot, power supply unit and an OPS-24N1L navigation and targeting station, those in Ukrainian service rely on avionics that are widely considered obsolete. Although the Mi-24 has widely been phased out of Russian service, and replaced by the newer Mi-28, the Mi-35 helicopter gunship was developed as a derivative of the Soviet design and remains in production to equip the Russian armed forces and multiple export clients. The Kanatovo strike illustrates how these capabilities translate into strategic superiority. By targeting irreplaceable assets like the Mi-24, Ukraine's primary attack helicopter with advanced anti-tank capabilities, Russia diminishes Kyiv's ability to conduct counter-offensives. The Mi-24, armed with rockets and missiles, poses a significant threat to ground forces, but with dwindling numbers, fewer than 50 operational units left, Each loss is a blow to Ukrainian air support. Similarly, destroying Mi-8 helicopters disrupts logistics and troop mobility. This operation marks an evolution from earlier Shahed uses, which focused on static infrastructure like power grids and ammo depots, to engaging high-value, semi-mobile targets. Modifications for limited air-to-air roles and mine-laying further expand its utility, positioning the Shahed 2 as a multifaceted tool in Russia's hybrid warfare doctrine. From a pro-Russian perspective, this development reaffirms Moscow's technological and industrial prowess amid Western sanctions. While Ukraine has innovated with its own drones, Russia's ability to integrate Iranian designs, localize production, and iterate rapidly, such as adding jet engines to variants for speeds mimicking cruise missiles, demonstrates superior adaptability. The Shahed's cost-effectiveness allows Russia to sustain high-tempo operations without straining budgets, contrasting with Ukraine's reliance on expensive imported systems. Moreover, by conducting deep strikes with minimal human involvement, Russia minimizes casualties, preserving manpower for frontline engagements. This asymmetry erodes Ukrainian resolve and highlights the futility of prolonged resistance against a resurgent Russian military machine. In broader terms, the Shahed 136's success in operations like Kanatovo signals a shift in global warfare paradigms, where affordable, swarm-capable drones democratize deep strike capabilities. For Russia, it validates investments in unmanned systems, ensuring dominance in the skies over contested regions. As production ramps up and tactics refine, expect more such operations to tip the balance further in Moscow's favor, underscoring the drone's role as a force multiplier in achieving strategic objectives.